Hello, everyone. My name is Florian Gueldner. I'm with ARC Advisory Group, all the way from Germany, coming here to the Orlando Forum. And I am joined here with Eryn. So, Eryn, can you please quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Eryn Devola, and I lead the sustainability efforts for Siemens Digital Industries.
Great. So, I have a European perspective from your sustainability. We started that long time ago. And when we started that in the Middle Ages, so to speak, we were literally discussing motors, drives, and capturing data on spreadsheets. Where are we now?
So much further, but what a great start, right? So what we're able to do today is take that localized data that might be at the motor, or maybe even made it to the drive, and pull that all the way through for an entire system, for an entire factory, or for a suite of many factories altogether, helping us make really better decisions and all of those important connections of pulling those data pieces together.
So this means that gets really embedded in all the data that a factory is created, right?
Exactly. So what you really need to do, if you want to really create a comprehensive digital twin, which we think is such an important thing to drive sustainability, you need to really understand what you're planning to do in the design process. So as I'm designing that motor or designing that frequency converter at the very beginning and looking at what are the parameters I want to control, how do I want to design for that, create that in the digital world before I even think about putting it into the real world. Then I've got this digital representation of the product. I want to move and look at the process of manufacturing that in the same way. And the beauty is by doing that first in the digital world, the real world is so much more efficient. I've already done most of the optimizing and I'm really just doing final testing. But the real beauty of it comes now that I've got that real operational data coming off of that manufacturing line or coming off of the operation of that motor, I can feed that back also into my design process in this continuous loop of optimization, which is really helpful from a productivity and a features perspective, but it also drives sustainability in an important way.
Okay, so that's a real long way from spreadsheets to a living digital twin or a living representation of the real world.
It feels like a long way, but we're getting there faster and faster every day.
But we are there yet. This is not a concept.
We are here today. Yep, factories, so many of our customers are doing this right now with some of the digital tools and the automation tools that we have that help monitor what's really going on and feed that information back either into the process design or ultimately into the product design.
All right. So you already said this is a reality. You're doing
the reality.
It. Sounds like the future. Can you give us an example? Any case study you want to share with us here and with our audience that you're really proud of or that is just really cool?
So there's a couple of things, but when we talk about the production process, we're helping so many of our traditional customers get more out of their existing infrastructure. CapEx and budgets are a bit constrained. And if you optimize and you're able to work in that digital world, you can continuously drive improvement, try things that would be difficult or expensive by running it through an optimization tool and then deploying it into the real world, into your plant. Because ultimately, we want real world things, but we want to do all the experimentation where the cost and the waste is in that digital world as much as possible. And we're doing that with so many of our customers across the spectrum. Maybe one example that I really love to talk about as we think about sustainability really as the underlying thing is we think that the future requires all of this data integration, but for those traditional customers to think about their operations differently, look not just within their own walls, but into their supply chains. And I think a big part of that is better connecting them with some of the new innovative companies. And this is one that I love to talk about because this innovative company called Ekinoke, they started wanting to do controlled environment agriculture. And they were looking for what's the right product to do that on. And they settled on hops. Hops are very difficult to grow. They have very specific needs for irrigation, for sun, for temperature. And what that means then if I'm a brewery like AB InBev, one of the largest breweries in the world, that they have to keep a lot of crops on hand. And so Ekinoke said, hey, this really difficult to grow crop, not so hard to grow when I'm controlling the light, when I know exactly what's in the soil, and I can completely control the water. Yeah. So what they were able to do is by working with AB InBev, Ekinoke built a plant right beside the AB InBev brewery. And they were able to get them a reliable source of hops and then eliminate all the storage and all of the inventory they used to have to keep. And so I love this story for two reasons. One, because it shows how a big company, a traditional company, can really partner with an innovative company, and how the technology that we provide at Siemens is really the backbone for that exchange.
Yeah.
But I also love it because they found some unintended sustainability benefits. One of them is when you're brewing, you have off-gassing, which is CO2.
Yeah.
Plants need CO2 to grow, so they found a way to pipe that CO2 back over to Akanoke, where they're making the hops next door. The other byproduct is wastewater, water that's not quite good enough to put into the beer, but plenty good enough to use to irrigate the plants.
Yes.
So not only did we have the intended sustainability benefits of a crop without chemicals, without any of the fertilizers that you might normally see, a reliable supplier for AB InBev, but we found these unintended sustainability benefits that came from eliminating waste streams.
What you say is so interesting, because it's not just this, let's use a more efficient motor. So you're integrating sustainability in the process, in the design, in the supply chain, and making it one big optimization effort.
Exactly.
Where at the end we're save loads of energy.
And then that digital twin is not just a digital twin of one hop plant, it's also a digital twin of the entire process, connecting the hop growing to the beer making. And this is where we're talking about building a bigger system or a bigger ecosystem where you can connect the data, better share, get better insights, become smarter, more profitable, and more sustainable all at the same time.
I have to say, I was never expecting that we start with an Excel spreadsheet and end up with hop growing.
Right? You just never know where you're going to go.
Now, one question because again, we're following that as from ARC for such a long time, and it has ups and downs, that sustainability thing. It has movement. It was very hip, then it was there, and then it now, since a few years, it becomes really present from a European perspective, of course, because of the rising energy costs and everything. What you're describing is almost beyond energy. So when you look at your customers, what are the motivations, what primary motivations to invest in energy savings, in sustainability? Is there more than just CO2, or is it money, or where are we going?
I think people are realizing that being profitable depends on being sustainable, and that these things together help them become more viable long-term. You want to become more resilient, more adaptable, and more flexible. And the more of your supply chain, the more circular you become, for example, the more that you can really understand where material is going. How do I reclaim that material? And you can really think about it in this bigger, broader way as being really important for your success, not something you do because you're successful and you have a little bit extra budget. No, it's really important to eliminate all waste, to track all material so that I can use it again. I can be most efficient and effective with how I'm doing that. And that's how we at Siemens see our ability to do that for ourselves, but also help others in our ecosystems do that, because no one company is going to save the planet on their own, right? Or no one company will create its own circular value chain. You're going to need people who do things that you don't do, who do things that are complementary to you, to start to complete that chain or to complete that circle.
Let me add one thought I had when you explained this small ecosystem between beer brewing and hop brewing. I bet it also makes it more resilient in the supply chain. So it doesn't depend on the weather in the Hallertau, the hop growing region north of Munich. So it makes it really plannable also.
And that's why they don't have to keep all of these supply of hops on site anymore. So it really made them be dependent, and by vertically integrating their supply chain, they're dependent on themselves, and the production is very, very predictable.
So we have sustainability is energy saving, it's cost saving, resilience, better planning, eliminating overcapacity. Is anything sustainability cannot do?
Well, I mean, the big thing it can also do is bring new talent to your organization. So one of the things that we see in our business, and we hear about in other businesses, is that the employees of the future are much more value-based in how they look at where they want to work. And I think that that's something also. So we talk about the benefits you just mentioned, but also having a more reliable way to win the war on talent is also a key benefit that we're seeing from having such a high focus on sustainability.
So in short, sustainability is here to stay.
And it's where it's at.
I'm Florian Gueldner from ARC. I'm speaking with Eryn from Siemens. Thank you so much for watching.